Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Socialism is failing miserably as starving Venezuelans cross the border looking for food and basic necessities. Where's Sean Penn and Danny Glover now? First, as the world is spinning out of control, the Dow continues to set records. But why? Are we the only game in town? Is that the reason that the Dow Jones Industrials are just skyrocketing? I mean, everything else is falling apart and plummeting in this world.
Well, we're the best of the worst. The United States economically is the leading nation in the world today because obviously the Brexit in England, you've got Europe is in a state of total consternation. You mentioned Venezuela, which has the largest oil reserves, by the way, of any country in the world, if you include the oil sands under Lake Maracaibo. But
inflation is at 1,600% right now.
I know. I've never seen a fairly modern country fall apart as quickly as Venezuela because of the kind of leadership they've had. This guy Maduro knows no better than his predecessor.
You know who's the richest person in Venezuela?
All right, I'll bite. Who?
The Chavez family.
Oh, yeah.
His daughter and his wife are multimillionaires.
Yeah, the predecessors of Maduro, the present dictator.
Right.
Well, but it's very, very sad. It's very tragic because they got so much going for them, but they don't know how to exploit it because they're socialists.
So why, with a country like that, could they not at least survive on their oil reserves? I mean, I know oil has gone down, but Russia depends on oil. There's a lot of countries, Saudi Arabia depends on oil, but they seem to be able to handle it okay.
No, because the basic organizational structure isn't there. The people that are in charge in Venezuela don't know how to either run a country, they don't know how to run a business. It would be like putting a guy in charge of a major company who doesn't even know what he's doing or what he's
doing. So at $100 a barrel, you can't help but be rich.
Yeah, but if you don't know how to, you give it all to people that ask for it, which is usually people that don't work and they want something for nothing. Venezuela is the best example of the failure of socialism as a basic mechanism for building a nation. That's what the problem is. If you want to know what happens when you go totally socialistic, like Sanders would if he ever got to be president, that's exactly it. If Sanders, with his basic philosophy, took over this country, we'd be going down the drain too.
You've got tens of thousands of people crossing the border into Colombia looking for toilet paper, looking for water, looking for basic necessities of life, food, but yet I don't hear any of the dear leaders of this country really saying anything about it.
Well, first of all, because they have the media under control. I mean, the American media today is totally reflecting the Obama thinking. Yeah. And this is not only CBS, NBC, ABC. It's even Fox isn't quite as definitive as a conservative station.
Or as it used to be.
No, it's almost like they're trying to curry favor with whoever is in power right now. And I find that really very unpleasant, to say the least.
I have found that Fox Business has been a much more compelling station to watch than the Fox News Channel. I'm almost bored with the Fox News Channel anymore.
I echo your sentiments completely. We haven't even talked about that. First of all, it's much more informative. They got Maria Bartiromo, who is excellent. They've
Lou Dobbs, Stuart Varney.
Varney is one of the best. I mean, it's almost like they combine leading.
Charles Payne.
Well, they also, I think,
Neil Cavuto. They have a great lineup.
They got a great lineup. They're far better than CNBC, which has been around forever. And but they're also far better than the regular Fox station. So it's a good combination.
And it's interesting to me how the rebellion against Roger Ailes has worked. He just resigned, and Megyn Kelly jumped out on that bandwagon as well with the whole sexual harassment thing.
That's amazing because he was almost like a king.
A god.
He was the one that really put it together in the first place, and that's because Carlson was what was her name?
Gretchen Carlson.
Gretchen Carlson, who was on Fox
and
Friends.
Yeah.
And then she got an afternoon show, which turned out to be a total bust. and her contract was not renewed. So she directed her ire against Ailes and said that he had made sexual advances.
Yeah. Why do you think the Dow Jones Industrials are hitting new records almost daily now? You said we're the only game in town. We're the best of the worst. Real estate seems to be a good investment.
The answer is the huge amount of foreign money flowing in this country. You know, I watch this because of my writing. I watch this every single day. I've become an expert because I have to be in order to have a daily column on anything economic. And the amount of money, even China is putting a lot of money in American real estate. Today, American real estate's hot stuff. Our automotive sector, which was going down the tubes, is now one of the strongest in the world. So I think also the traders who have been in charge of the markets ever since the financial crisis, I mean, it's not the investors so much as the traders who are short-term people, have they have found that there are certain segments of the stock market are a thing to invest even on a short-term basis. And right now it's technology and healthcare. If you look at what's really leading the Dow Jones, are those two segments. And you know, energy is still down in the dumps. It's wallowing around. It'll eventually balance.
You got the Apples, the Amazons.
Exactly. Look at you hit it right on the head. You know, the Facebook came out at $22. And I remember when they came out 3 or 4 years ago, and it was a very poor opening. And now it's about at $122.
And it's already split once, didn't it?
No, it hasn't split, but it has increased by $100 per share.
Do you think that we're looking at a crash possibly? I get the feeling that the closer we get to the election, if Donald Trump looks like he may be the next president of the United States, you're going to see these guys sabotage the economy in a way that we've never seen before.
I don't think so, because I think this is, you know,
a la 2008, which McCain was actually in the lead going into that election, and then we had the banking nightmare, and the whole thing fell apart.
No, I don't think so, because what's happening, I'm telling you, there's so much foreign money coming into this country. You know, you've got negative interest rates, which you never had before, and it's becoming more and more of a factor. Out of the $50 trillion that's generated in the world, I think they're up to about $8 or $9 trillion now in negative interest rates. So Germany, United Kingdom, even France, countries that still have money to invest, or China certainly, and to a certain extent Japan, are coming back to the United States because they think our basic stock market is better because we are better. With all the troubles we're having, we're still the most effective.
The best of the worst.
The best of the worst.
That's a great line.
Yeah.
We only have about a minute left. Donald Trump has been talking about tariffs. I want to get your thought on tariffs. Positive or negative? What do you think?
Well, will you rephrase the question? What do you mean?
Well, like he says that if companies leave and go to Mexico, for example, like say General Motors,
Yeah.
and they want to come back and sell cars in the United States, or Carrier air conditioners, you're going to put a 35%, which is basically a tax on the American people. What's your thoughts on tariffs?
I think if he really means that, I think he's wrong. I think you know, we had a basic legislation in 1929 where we put Smoot-Hawley. We closed a door to foreign trade. We put a big tariff on anything coming in, and they did it to us. And guess what?
Stock market crash.
Yes. No, that
In
if
the
he
Great
does
Depression.
that, you know.
But now Reagan did it to Harley Davidson in the 80s, and that turned out to work. So does it depend on the segment and the sector you're talking about?
It depends on how you negotiate it. If Trump is talking about the tactics of negotiation being a little bit more beneficial to us, that I go along with. But to just throw out the Tri-Pacific trade pact that they're working on right now and say, no, we shouldn't do it because there's an imbalance right now, what you do is see if you can work out a better deal. That's all. But world trade is critical to this country.
And isn't there always going to be an imbalance? I mean, it can't be perfectly.
Never.
It can't be perfectly
No,
balanced.
but I mean, I think Trump is too intelligent to. I think that's strictly a campaign ploy on his part to get people who aren't working. You know, that gets back to unemployment, and I'm not going to get into how you really measure unemployment.
And
but,
if you're not working and you're struggling, it definitely gets you a little bit fired up. There's no question about it.
The so-called 4.9% unemployment is more like an 18% unemployment.
Yeah, that's for sure. We need to take a quick break. You can follow Maury on Twitter now at mbeshloss. To all our Facebook followers, make sure to click on the links. Make sure to share our videos on all your social media platforms. Our global outlook is next. We'll be right back.